We will now hear from our second speaker on the opposition side of the motion, Margaret Zheng. Margaret is a first-year student reading land economy at Selwyn College. She won this slot through open audition. Margaret, the floor is yours.
Oh, is my mic on? Yeah. So thank you, Chair. Thank you all. We've heard from Isaac a very, very sound speech, very persuasive, vividly picturized those police brutality happened in Hong Kong protest. Some of the pictures that you can directly link to your human intrinsic sympathy. And this very, very persuasive speech of Isaac has forced me to change the sequence of my speech. And I'm going to directly challenge one of your assumptions that China is imperialism, impeaching Hong Kong's freedom of speech and democracy, with the underlying assumption that democracy is the ultimate goodness of Hong Kong, that once you achieve electoral independent democracy, Hong Kong's fundamental problems can be solved. No, I don't think it's the case. I do not think democracy is the ultimate perfection and the ultimate paradise that you can solve Hong Kong's fundamental problem, the hierarchical social inequality, the housing problems. Those are the problems faced by the Hong Kong today. Like in this debate, we have been thinking to the whole that what's the best solution to Hong Kong? What should we do about democracy? Democracy, sorry, that's like the first 3 minutes, right? So my point is trying to get back to the origin of this motion. The origin of this motion is, first of all, is China's power new? And second, is this power could be termed as imperialism? Well, I do not, on legal ground, imperialism is, well, regardless of different interpretation, has one core that it's a power. It extends from one nation to another. We have from Martin Lee, we have from Isaac, all clearly stating that on full legality, Hong Kong Special Administrative Region is part of China. So imperial power, you might not say that, well, we've been heard speeches saying that British has exerted imperial power upon America, which is part of its land. But make a very, very special attention here. Why is an imperial power from America? It's because America enjoy less privilege than people at mainland Britain. Is that the case in Hong Kong? In legislation, we have the clear statement in Hong Kong Basic Law that Hong Kong is a special administrative region enjoying high autonomy. You can say that their autonomy has been limited by the China's government's recent performance. You can say that there has been different political opinions and there's constraint on the level of autonomy, but it is still a high degree of autonomy. If you're saying that a sovereign country exerting influence on part of its territory imperialism, then UK is exerting imperialism upon Scotland because Scotland has the majority wishes to stay in the EU, but due to the majority cases happened throughout Britain, we all know Brexit takes place. Well, you might say, hang on, let's forget about all this lexical twist about on legality ground, because in reality, China is indeed impeaches freedom of speech and the process of democracy. Well, and I want to challenge this point by saying, I want to challenge the point of China is a new source of power, by saying that China here does not only refer to the Communism Party of China, but the China refers to a continuing, long-lived civilization. And the power is not about political ideology, but a continuing power exerted by a civilization trying to retake control of a part of its land that is lost during colonialism after the Opium War. Yep.
Would you distinguish between cynic civilization and the nation state of China at the present? Thank you.
So, yes, that's a very valid question. So the point I'm taking on here is because the proposition, the motion that we are having here is China is a new imperial power upon Hong Kong. It's not saying that the communism China is a new imperial force on Hong Kong. So I think we need to distinguish on two aspects. There's political aspect, but there's civilization aspects as well. So I'm currently addressing from the civilization point because I think that's a point that has been neglected by many of the speakers. We've been all focused on a different political ideology. Yeah. So we've been hearing from speeches today that Hong Kong is culturally westernized. Hong Kong people now identified as a Hong Konger rather than China. Yes, but part of this identification is because of the ideological change that due to colonization. It is not a civilizational shift. What is civilization? Civilization is a cultural area. It's a collection of cultural characteristics and phenomena referring to the overall way of life of the average public, serving as the highest grouping of people and the broadest level of cultural identity. So empires rise and fall, governments come and go, even ideology upheavals. But international history has told us political systems are transient, expanding on the surface of civilization. And the destiny of each linguistically and morally defined community ultimately depends on some primary structuring ideas which succeeded through generations. The generations we're talking about here is not about this 100 years of colonization. It's about these 2,000 years of succeeding traditions, morals, Confucianisms, about the overall core identity of yourself. Yes, there is shifting social values, but civilization is something that's much more fundamental than that. So in this aspect, I would say that China is not a new force acting upon Hong Kong, because civilizational speaking, it is forever there, just like Western civilization influence on British people, everybody. Yes, please.
Do you think the communist China is a good representation of its civilization and its culture? For instance, the Confucianism you just enlisted.
Yes, just like I already told to Isaac, the motion we have here today, all of us, it seems to be this motion is only about a political China. We all have like this potential bracket in front of China that China refers to a communist-led party, a communism party-led China. But I want to redefine China. I want to redefine China here as not only a political power, but also a continuing civilization. I don't think a Sinic civilization can be distinguished from China. Sorry, can I address that first? I don't think a Sinic civilization can be defined by China, can be distinguished from that. So I want to make these two levels clear. So I've already argued from a civilization point. Now coming to your point of view, the political part. Like I already said, that we had two speeches from the proposition, all saying that China is imperial power because it's impeaching Hong Kong's freedom of speech, it's Hong Kong democracy, which has been dreamed by Hong Kong people. But is that true? I think all of you are familiar with the famous concept of false consciousness, that due to incomplete information intake and due to an overall singular voice, that you think that you're actually doing a free choice, but it is actually not. There is this saying that sorry, can I finish my yeah.
In fact, we're past the last minute of this speech, so there will not be any more points from the floor.
So we are here and point that so I kind of know like what you might want to say is that yes, we are all here like expressing people, Hong Kong people now here at Cambridge Union are stating their actual desire of like Hong Kong dependency, democracy is good, but this is not. But we have to aware that Hong Kong has 20%, 1/5 people are in the poverty. Only 49% of Hong Kong people is able to speak English. We need to pay attention that we not need only to hear voices from people. Privileged people we have not heard, that voices can be heard. We have to pay attention to those Hong Kong people, street cleaners, rag people, who doesn't have a voice to say in this battle. Do they really want democracy? Do they really want democracy? Do they think democracy as a sole way to solve their problems? I don't think so. Democracy, we have seen in many Western civilizations, Western examples, that may fall in hands into an elite oligarchy that serving the interests with privileged group, with big corporations, and with politicians. This is the true case that the rise of populism that in UK and America did are due to people who have been ignored. During the democratic process, they don't have a voice to say, therefore they have their votes to. Therefore, they are voted for an uprise of populism. We have to pay attention to. Yes. Sorry. We have to pay. We have to make the. We have to clearly recognize the point. Recognize the point here is that, like just I said about like the false consciousness. I don't think democracy will serve as the sole goodness to Hong Kong's hierarchical housing problems and social problems, because the core of those problems are caused by people that don't really have a voice to say in the society. Even we have an electoral democracy system, it does not necessarily mean that those problems are going to be solved. Therefore, the point I'm not going to further to assert like the difference, the evaluating whether democracy is better or the communism approach is better. All I'm saying that democracy is not perfect. Therefore, we must be really careful when trying to criticize the opposite side of democracy. So the relationship, the story between Hong Kong and China is really complicated. There is this not only, like I said, not only legal but civilizational and institutional argument there. This is not like an American movie, a battle between a pure hero, democracy, and a villain, the Communist Party. It is about something that's more fundamental than that. And therefore, I do not think this, I do not think China could be termed as a negative to imperial power in this sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret, for that.